This is ABC News Live Prime. I'm Phil Lipoff in tonight for Lindsay Davis, and we are coming to you right now with breaking news tonight. A verdict in the trial of Rust armorer Hannah Gutierrez. The jury finding her guilty of involuntary manslaughter.
We find the defendant, Hannah Gutierrez, guilty of involuntary manslaughter as charged in count 1. We find the defendant, Hannah Gutierrez, not guilty of tampering with evidence as charged in count 2.
That verdict coming down after 2.5 hours of deliberations as Gutierrez was taken into custody. Her anguished loved ones, as you see, looked on. Prosecutors had told jurors that Gutierrez repeatedly failed to maintain proper firearm safety and that her negligence led to the death of Halyna Hutchins. Actor Alec Baldwin has also been charged with involuntary manslaughter. He was handling the gun that actually killed Hutchins. That trial is set to begin in July. We are standing by to get legal analysis, but first, let's get right to Mola Lenghi. Mola, what can you tell us about the verdict?
Well, Phil, it took the jury just 2.5 hours to find Hannah Gutierrez guilty of involuntary manslaughter. Gutierrez, as you know, the armorer on the movie set of Rust here in New Mexico. She was taken into custody tonight. The defense argued that Gutierrez was being used as a scapegoat, but the jury ultimately agreeing with the prosecution's argument that Gutierrez repeatedly skirted critical weapon safety checks and carelessly brought live ammo onto the movie set. Just days before a gun that actor Alec Baldwin was rehearsing with fired a live bullet back in October 2021, killing the movie's cinematographer, Halyna Hutchins. Baldwin has pleaded not guilty to involuntary manslaughter charges, and Phil, his trial is scheduled to begin in July.
All right, Mola, thank you. ABC News legal contributor and professor of law Kim Haley joins me now to break this verdict down. Kim, Rust armorer Hannah Gutierrez found guilty of involuntary manslaughter. What from the prosecutor's arguments do you think stuck with the jury as they came to the conclusion?
Well, the entire movie set would seem to be, just ripe with negligence top to bottom. I mean, her job as armorer was to manage firearms, and someone was killed. And that, I think it's very difficult for the defense to really get around the notion that that's potentially criminal negligence, because it should not happen, given that that was her job. That was her reason to be on set.
Always hard to read the tea leaves before the verdict, but jury deliberations only lasted about 2 hours. What do you make of the fast decision here from the jury?
Well, again, the evidence demonstrated that there were multiple opportunities to double check that this wasn't a live round and it wasn't a fake, and that she wasn't even there when the incident happened, that they potentially traced the bringing of this actual live round onto set to her. She brought something allegedly from her car onto the set. So all of these things, as a jury went through the jury instructions and said, willful disregard for the safety of the people on the movie set. I think it was just difficult probably for them to reach any other conclusion, and the blaming others when this was her job, my guess is a jury saw right through that.
It's obviously really a high-profile case. How do you think this paves the way for the trial of Alec Baldwin now, who's also charged with involuntary manslaughter?
Well, I think with Alec Baldwin, it's harder. I mean, he has said publicly that he didn't pull the trigger. That's going to be difficult for him when you have forensic experts and firearms experts explaining how this sort of antique-like gun works. Reportedly, you have to actually pull the trigger. That being said, he was there to read his lines and be an actor, and there are hundreds of people on movie sets that's job is to do these other things, and, guns kill people. So I think that's probably a harder case for the prosecution than it was for this defendant, but this verdict is probably nothing that he likes to hear. I'm sure he's very concerned in this moment for his own future.
I would imagine. ABC News legal contributor Kim Haley. Kim, thanks so much, as always. Next tonight, to the race for the White House. After Super Tuesday, the Biden-Trump rematch is shaping up once again. Governor Nikki Haley bowing out, congratulating Donald Trump, but not endorsing him, saying it's now up to him to earn the votes of Republicans who did not support him. President Biden, meantime, has made an appeal to Haley's voters already, saying there is a place for them in his campaign. ABC's Rachel Scott reports.
Tonight, Donald Trump's lone remaining Republican challenger calling it quits.
I said I wanted Americans to have their voices heard. I have done that.
Nikki Haley congratulating Trump, but not endorsing him. Instead, urging the former president to heed the message of her supporters, who have serious reservations about another Trump term. Exit polls show 79% of Haley voters would be dissatisfied with Trump as the Republican nominee. 79% also say he would be unfit for office if convicted of a crime.
It is now up to Donald Trump to earn the votes of those in our party and beyond it who did not support him. And I hope he does that. At its best, politics is about bringing people into your cause, not turning them away. This is now his time for choosing.
President Biden quickly promising Haley supporters have a place in his campaign, saying, "I know there's a lot we won't agree on, but on the fundamental issues of preserving American democracy, on standing up for the rule of law, on preserving NATO, and standing up to America's adversaries, I hope and believe we can find common ground." Trump now the de facto Republican nominee, predicting the party will come together.
And we're going to have unity, and it's going to happen very quickly.
Today, one of the last remaining Republican leaders falling in line. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell hasn't spoken to Trump in 3 years, publicly blaming him for January 6th.
There's no question, none, that President Trump is practically and morally responsible for provoking the events of the day.
But today, McConnell endorsing Trump, saying it should come as no surprise that as nominee, he will have my support. Reporters pressing the senator on how he could condemn Trump in 2020 and endorse him now.
I said in February of 2021, shortly after the attack on the Capitol, that I would support President Trump if he were the nominee of our party, and he obviously is going to be the nominee of our party.
Rachel joins us now. And Rachel, there is that open question everybody thinking about right now, who Nikki Haley supporters will decide to support in the general, or if they'll even vote at all.
Exactly. Look, a lot of attention's being given to the fact that Nikki Haley did not endorse Donald Trump today. But far beyond that is, where do her voters actually go? And when you look at these exit polls, you see the majority of her supporters in states that have already voted say they are not committing to supporting the former president, and especially if he's convicted of a crime. Remember, Donald Trump's still facing 91 criminal charges. So Trump certainly has his work cut out for him if he wants to win over that group of voters, Phil.
Rachel Scott for us tonight. Rachel, thank you. All right, let's get straight to Rick Klein now. And Rick, Trump is, of course, now marching toward that nomination, never faster than he is right now. He will formally clinch it soon and set up that general election rematch.
Yeah, Phil, he's on track right now to win the nomination outright in the next week or two, maybe in next week's contest, but if not, then by the 19th. And now it's almost a done deal because Haley has dropped out. And it was striking to me to see how many big blue states like California and Massachusetts, big red states like Texas and Oklahoma and Arkansas, didn't matter. Trump romped everywhere. The one exception, of course, was in Vermont, where you saw Nikki Haley pull out her only victory in a state anywhere in this entire process. You also saw a few places like in Virginia where there were pockets of the state where Nikki Haley's running a lot stronger than her 30-point loss. Here in the suburbs outside Washington, D.C., Haley was actually running a pretty big increase. And that's where really how the frame up for the general election begins, is that everyone knows that Donald Trump's going to have to work to get those Haley voters back. But there are some stark contrasts from even what we saw the last time these two men ran. I mean, just start with the polling averages. Our partners at 538 have looked at this, and they have Trump up on average by about 2 points nationally. That's reflected in a bunch of recent national polls. And in the critical battleground states, Trump is up in all 7 of the likeliest battlegrounds. These are the states that are almost certain to be deciding the election this fall. And Trump goes in with an edge. That is a big difference from 4 years ago, where Biden had an edge in most of those states. These were 6 out of these 7 were states that Joe Biden carried last time. And he's going to need to carry the majority of them to win the presidency. With the State of the Union tomorrow, you're going to start to see him square up in that race against Trump. But right now, he decidedly is starting from behind as the general election essentially begins now, Phil.
Yeah, and you know this better than most. A lot of real estate between now and November. All right, Rick Klein, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Just 24 hours from now, President Biden will leave the White House and make his way to Capitol Hill, where he'll enter the House chamber and deliver his State of the Union address, effectively kicking off his re-election bid for an audience of millions. And the stakes simply couldn't be higher. Joining me now for more is Ali Zaidi, assistant to President Biden and national climate advisor as well. Sir, thanks so much for taking the time to speak with us. What's the vision for the future that the president is expected to lay out to the nation tomorrow night?
You know, the president from day one has been talking about the need for the country to come together, to take on the crises that we face and do it in a way that pulls us out the other side stronger than we were going in. That's exactly what he's done. In this chamber in 1987, he was the first to put forth legislation on climate change. Years later, in 22, he passed the largest investment in climate change in the history of this country. The result is not just environmental leadership. It's jobs and factories popping up all across the country, economic opportunity and revitalization. So he's got proof points against that theory of the case that he laid out at the beginning of his presidency. It's a vision for the future that seizes the possibilities, that seizes the opportunities embedded in the crises that we face. And it centers around this idea that if we come together, we can do anything as a country.
Well, on that note, and I do want to get to the climate in 1 minute, but on that note, many Americans are increasingly frustrated over their finances despite the administration's economic wins on issues like credit card fees, student loans, unemployment, housing, and more. Is the president expected to be more aggressive tomorrow night in connecting the administration's economic wins to a public that in many cases just is frankly not feeling it?
You know, just this week, the president hosted a competition council that announced yet again a set of initiatives that crack down on those junk fees, on those efforts and initiatives by corporations that are fleecing Americans. He wants to make sure that the wins from this economy, which is growing, booming, and frankly leading the world in a comeback out of the COVID crisis, return to the American middle class. It's an economic theory that lifts people from the bottom up and the middle out. And it's something he's been focused on from day one. It's certainly a place where he continues to elevate the priority, whether it was the set of announcements this week or what we've got going forward. I think people recognize, though, unemployment lowest it's been and sustained at that place. More folks covered with health care, prescription drug prices going down thanks to the president's signature legislation, the economy growing and outpacing our competitors overseas, the U.S. worker finally off the sidelines in places of massive growth like the clean energy future and competing once more on the global stage.
Yeah, let's talk about that. The country's future and climate change, as you know, is a top issue among Democratic and many independent voters across the country. As the national climate advisor to the president, how can he outline its progress on the issues for those who really care about the environment, while at the same time acknowledging the concerns among climate skeptics, I guess?
Look, he's accomplished so much. There's a lot more to be done, but we've got tailwinds behind us now propelling our progress. 26 million acres conserved in places like the North Slope of Alaska or that region around the Grand Canyon that he declared a national monument. We've quadrupled the number of electric vehicles sold since we took office. 170,000 charging stations now lining our roads and highways. We're capable of producing many more of the products that will be needed to build this clean energy future, 8x expansion in our solar manufacturing capacity, and all across the country, what that's meant is jobs. I remember flying with the president to New Mexico to visit a wind manufacturing facility just earlier that week on Main Street. They had held a job fair, and that's the story that we're seeing playing out all across the country, a visible difference on clean energy, on conservation, thanks to President Biden's leadership.
Assistant to President Biden and National Climate Advisor Ali Zaidi, thank you so much for taking the time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
33 million people are under flash flood alerts tonight from New Jersey to Maine, the rain becoming heavier into the night. The system racing north at this hour as another system takes shape right behind it, reaching the East Coast by Friday night. ABC senior meteorologist Rob Marciano tonight with the timing and the track. Rob.
Hey, Phil, this second storm has come in pretty quickly, and we've seen the rain steadily increasing throughout the day across New York and up the I-95 corridor. A really horrible evening commute with a lot of ponding on the roadways. And the rain, as you mentioned, is only going to get worse. And worse if it's on our doorstep. You see the brighter colors there rolling up through Philly and New Jersey and across Long Island. But we're expansive all the way back through Buffalo and Pittsburgh. So this will take some time. The front kind of squeezes some of that moisture, and more rounds of the reds and yellows coming, especially east of the Hudson. Through 7 a.m., it begins to end west to east, but I think Boston's morning commute could be a very difficult one. The next storm coming in on Sunday will bring another couple of inches, Saturday and Sunday, I should say. So 2 to 4 to 5 inches potentially in the northeast and the southeast. And with this next system, there's a severe weather threat coming tomorrow and Friday. Damaging winds, large hail, isolated tornadoes, Dallas to Shreveport to Mobile as we go through Friday. But here in the Northeast, by the time we get done with all this come Sunday morning, we're talking about over a month's worth of rain coming to this area. Phil?
It's a lot of rain in a short period of time. Rob, thank you. Now to that frightening scene on board a United flight from Houston to Fort Myers. Flames shooting out of one of the engines, passengers watching it through the windows. The pilot turned back to Houston. Chief National Correspondent Matt Gutman reports.
Tonight, that midair scare, a passenger filming as flames shoot out from the engine of a United plane on its way to Fort Myers, Florida.
I was texting my family, and I didn't know what was going to happen. So I was just telling them that I loved him very much.
United Airlines Flight 1118 taking off from George Bush International Airport in Houston, Texas, around 6:30 p.m. Monday. Minutes later, passengers hearing a loud bang and feel violent shaking.
Panic set in with a lot of people. And a lot of the people around me were screaming and crying.
David Gruninger taking this video, the orange flames erupting from the engine. The pilot telling air traffic control there are 167 people on board.
We've got both engines. One of them just had a surge or stall.
The aircraft landing back in Houston less than an hour later. Emergency crews waiting on the tarmac. In a statement tonight, United saying the plane experienced an engine issue, adding the flight landed safely and the passengers deplaned normally. Phil, United said that nobody was hurt in the incident and that they secured a new plane to take the passengers to Fort Myers that evening. Now, the FAA says it is investigating the incident, the latest involving a 737. That plane due back in the air tomorrow. Phil.
All right, Matt, thank you. At least 2 crew members on a commercial ship in the Red Sea were killed after their ship was struck by Houthi missiles fired from Yemen. The first deaths to be blamed on those militant attacks. Chief Global Affairs Correspondent Martha Raddatz with the story.
Tonight, for the first time after months of missile attacks on cargo ships, the Iranian-backed Houthis have left crew members dead, killing 3 on board this cargo ship and critically injuring 3 others in the Gulf of Aden. The ship, a Liberian-owned carrier seen in these drone shots billowing smoke. The surviving crew abandoning ship, a U.S.-guided missile cruiser now headed to assist. This comes just days after the Houthis sunk a cargo ship carrying 21 tons of fertilizer in the Red Sea.
We will continue to hold them accountable, and we call on governments around the world to do the same.
But since January, there have already been 4 large-scale U.S. and British joint airstrikes on Houthi targets in Yemen, including 150 missiles and launchers, which appear to have done little to slow down the Houthis. The Houthi missile attacks aimed at commercial vessels and U.S. Navy ships have happened almost daily at one of the world's busiest and most important shipping routes. Phil, the Iranian-backed Houthis have been threatening this busy shipping route since the fall, claiming to target ships headed to Israel in order to thwart the war in Gaza. But at this point, the U.S. has no other plan except to keep hitting the Houthis, who are not even close to running out of missiles. Phil?
Martha Raddatz from the nation's capital. Martha, thank you. A dramatic move here in New York City. The National Guard is being sent into the New York City subway to protect riders tonight. New York's Governor Kathy Hochul on the crime they are seeing on the subway and what they're now doing about it. ABC's Aaron Kotersky in New York.
Tonight, the National Guard is set to patrol the New York City subway system, a show of force after a series of violent attacks.
I've certainly noticed a difference in crime in subways, particularly that even have me as an NYPD employee fearful of my safety.
While crime in the city overall is down, the start of the year has seen a spike in the subways, and the governor says it's giving riders anxiety.
Saying things are getting better doesn't make you feel better, especially when you've just heard about someone being slashed in the throat or thrown onto a subway's tracks.
750 National Guard members, along with 250 state and transit police officers, will patrol the platforms and check bags for weapons, joined by teams of mental health workers. The deployment comes after a subway conductor's throat was slashed just last week. Our station WABC was there when that conductor met the doctor who was on the train and saved his life.
God bless you. You're a good man. You're my angel.
Just today, Phil, we learned of another attack, a conductor hit by a bottle. She's going to be okay, thankfully. The police believe many of these crimes are being committed by repeat offenders, so the governor's trying to figure out some way to prevent them from riding. Phil?
Aaron Katursky in New York City tonight. Aaron, thank you. At least 8 people were shot at a city bus stop in Philadelphia's Burholm neighborhood. Gunfire erupted around 3 this afternoon. Police finding the victims, at least 4 suspected to be juveniles, 3 suffering from gunshot wound to the leg, and the 4th was shot in the chest. Their current condition remains undisclosed. The motive still unclear. Police are urging the public to come forward with any information. There is still much more to get to here tonight on Prime. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis says he'll send state troopers to crack down on spring break hotspots. But next, Oregon voters decriminalized hard drugs less than 4 years ago. But why have so many come to regret it?
Does it feel like a scapegoat?
It definitely feels like a scapegoat. I feel like people are blaming Measure 110 for problems that existed before 110.
Whenever news breaks.
We are here in Israel, a nation at war after that brutal surprise attack by Hamas.
On the ground in Ukraine, reporting from Lewiston, Maine.
The scene of a horrific mass shooting.
ABC News Live is right there everywhere.
From the scene of that deadly missile strike in Dnipro, Ukraine. Reporting from the earthquake in Turkey.
In Rolling Fork, this tornado tore through this little town.
From the most devastating disaster in Hawaii.
From Charleston, South Carolina, on the 2024 campaign trail.
In Iceland, let's go.
Traveling with the president in Mexico City.
Wherever the story.
From the front lines.
From southern Israel.
Outside the Gaza Strip.
In Beirut. From the FBI.
Reporting from the nurses on the picket line.
Here at 10 Downing Street in London.
Streaming live to you.
Wherever the story is.
Wherever the story is.
Wherever the story is. We're going to take you there.
You're streaming ABC News Live.
ABC News Live.
You're streaming ABC News Live.
ABC News Live. Streaming free everywhere. America's #1 streaming news.
First thing in the morning.
There's a lot going on.
Yet another avalanche warning that's up.
To catch you up with what happened overnight. A dangerous ice storm is impacting the morning commute.
What's happening today? Escalating tensions in the Middle East.
What people are talking about. The migrant crisis.
Fast, straightforward.
With some fun in between.
How does billionaire sound?
Sounds good to me. The moose started chasing a dog.
First thing in the morning.
America This Morning.
America's #1 early morning news.
On ABC News Live.
This week on
Good Morning America.
Garth Brooks has something super special to share.
This is just too cool. I cannot wait to show you.
And he's sharing it with Robin and you.
Robin Roberts, me, and GMA. I'm so excited. Let's do this.
This week.
Wait till you see this.
Only on GMA.
I love me some Good Morning America, and I promise you are going to love this.
Good Morning America, live from Nashville this week.
Welcome back. It is one of the most progressive places in the country, and nearly 4 years after Oregonians voted to decriminalize hard drugs, the move has ignited controversy, some even advocating to make them illegal once again, making this state a cautionary tale on drugs. In tonight's Prime Focus, our Ashin Singh looks at the dilemma the state is now facing. All sides admit something isn't working. The question is, what now?
Oregon is 3 years into a revolutionary approach to treating drug addiction. But in one of the most progressive states in the country, some are getting cold feet.
You just don't see as many police stopping people on the sidewalks for using drugs.
The voters of Oregon were misled about what path we were going down.
It didn't create homelessness. It didn't create crime.
But I think by almost everyone's accounts, it's made all of those things worse.
It hasn't worked. We are still in an addiction crisis. We are in a housing crisis. Measure 110 cannot fix that.
In your mind, was ballot measure 110 a mistake?
We are going to walk through downtown and offer some information and resources to our community and the houseless people.
Thanks to a ballot measure in 2020, small amounts of lethal drugs have been decriminalized in the state, and open drug use is a common sight.
I come from downtown. I come from being homeless, and I accepted and asked for help and needed a lot of resources and received the help. So today I'm out here helping my people because I've been there.
You've literally been there.
Yeah. How you doing, my friend? Have you been down to the BHRC Center?
Rico Mejia.
Hey, man, good to see you.
Walks the streets of Portland with a group of volunteers from local advocacy groups.
I'm with the BHRC outreach team and Sarah.
To find people who may need treatment.
We get you down to the center and you can get a shower.
Getting those in the throes of addictions into treatment can sometimes feel like a losing battle.
Can you explain sort of this idea that recovery is a process, it's a continuum?
This is about small victories, it's about shelter, it's about building relationships. We're out here letting people know the information about our center, and a lot of times it takes people a while to receive the help. They are not going to make that split decision right away.
In 2020, voters approved ballot measure 110, which decriminalized possession of small amounts of some drugs. It provided funding to addiction recovery services, using some of the revenue generated from legal cannabis sales in the state. Basically, if you buy marijuana from a dispensary in Oregon, you're partially funding resources that help people suffering from addiction get back on their feet.
Good morning, Dan.
Good morning.
How you doing?
Good.
That money helps people like Dan Hood.
We're going to discuss those 4 applications we put in. Okay.
He's looking for a steady job after a few false starts getting sober.
The new position, the staffing training, the Central City Concern just opened up today.
Let's go for it. Do you remember trying it for the first time?
I do. You feel like you can do anything in the world. You have the most confidence. Just feel unstoppable, you know?
And in that time, how often were you using and what were you using?
I was using heroin and meth every day. And then later on, I started doing fentanyl every day.
What do you want people across the country to know about this process, about what it's like, about what you guys are maybe getting right or wrong here?
The harm reduction helps a lot, man. I think it helps people get more honest. They can open up more rather than trying to hide.
You hopeful about your future?
Oh, yeah. I got nothing but to look up.
Dan credits his success to Recovery Works, an organization run by Joe Bezegi, who helps addicts get into treatment. The Recovery Center opened a year ago with funding from Measure 110.
Come on in. Welcome to Recovery Works Newburgh. This is opioid replacement therapy. So if I take this medicine, fentanyl will not have the same effect on me.
People come in completely addicted to fentanyl and get on our Sublocade program, and you'll start to see people truly change. When they're not spending their time chasing fentanyl and they're feeling good, you know, they can really be productive members of society.
We provide safe injection equipment, so a variety of different syringes.
Haven Wheelock has been working in harm reduction for decades. Now, she runs a harm reduction center in downtown Portland.
110 allows us to engage them and help them get the supports before that transition to injection happens.
And she also helped write Ballot Measure 110.
What have you made of the public outcry against Measure 110?
It's made me sad that people want something to blame.
Does it feel like a scapegoat?
It definitely feels like a scapegoat. I feel like people are blaming Measure 110 for problems that existed before 110. Oregon has some of the highest rates of addiction in the country. We have some of the lowest access to treatment in the country. The crisis here has been here for a long time.
How about public use, not just possession?
Public use is a messy scenario.
It's kind of a loophole.
It is a loophole, but the solution isn't putting people in jail for it. The solution is making sure people have access to housing, making sure people have safe places to use and safe places to be.
Right now, people who get tickets for open drug use are given a choice. Pay the fine or call a hotline that will direct them to treatment services while the fine goes away. Portland police are on the front lines of open drug dealing and drug use and see their duties constantly changing.
It's gone from like property crimes to stolen cars, and for the last year or so, year and a half, it's been predominantly fentanyl, where fentanyl has basically become our full-time job. But it is not a crime to use drugs in public in Oregon currently.
So what do you guys do when you do see someone using in public?
If we have outreach workers that day, we offer you the chance to talk to an outreach worker, but you're gonna get a $100 citation for possession of a controlled substance. I provide you with a treatment card. It has the screening number. That's the card.
This is the card?
You call that number to do a health screening. My understanding is they'll also pay the ticket for you.
The hotline is now seen as a symbol of Measure 110's shortcomings. After 3 years and over 7,600 drug violations, only about 200 calls have been made.
What's frustrated you about all this?
Every day I tell people about Measure 110, and we're years into this, where I'm like, oh, you know, it's a $100 citation, the treatment card, and people are like, well, I voted for that, and then they're upset with me about it. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you.
Point blank, do you think Measure 110's been a failure?
I just work here.
3 years after the controversial policy took effect, Oregon residents want to see a change.
The issue is that they didn't implement all of the things that were needed for it to work properly here, such as shooting or smoking sites. Those implements were not in place, and so it hasn't worked.
I think maybe some changes that make it so that it's not quite so public.
A coalition of local business owners and citizens threatened to put the issue back on the ballot this fall.
How many more youth do we have to lose to this? How many more young adults do we have to bury before people start realizing it's not working?
That coalition put pressure on the legislature to fix what they see as obvious issues.
This is a kind of notorious corner here.
Max Williams is in charge of that coalition.
Everybody wants people to go to treatment, but the actual consequences of that policy and how it's worked out on the ground, just didn't deliver. We decriminalized the drugs 90 days within the passage of the measure. And simultaneously, at the time, we were ranking 49th out of 50th nationwide in access to treatment.
In your mind, was ballot measure 110 a mistake?
No, I don't think I'd go as far as to say ballot measure 110 was a mistake. I think that there are pieces of it that need refinement.
Do you and your colleagues feel pressure to get this right?
Well, every time I do legislation, I feel pressure to get it right. That's fundamentally why I'm here. And legislation is really hard.
You mentioned the houselessness and mental health crisis that have existed in the state and in the city of Portland long before Measure 110 was ever introduced. Does it feel like Measure 110 is sort of a scapegoat for these pre-existing issues?
I don't think it is fair to say that somehow ballot measure 110 caused what's happening. And I think fundamentally Oregon was really unprepared for the crisis that is fentanyl because of our lack of treatment options. And we just have to fundamentally think differently about how we attack that.
Last week, the state legislature passed a bill that aims to fix some of the concerns about public drug use. Under the new policy, people caught with drugs could spend up to 180 days in jail, far more than Democrats had hoped for, and far less than the year-long jail sentence Republicans were pushing for. The bill also gives the option for a conditional discharge, allowing people to choose treatment over incarceration. But Oregon lawmakers know there's still more work to be done.
There are real issues that we cannot continue to just allow to go without an answer, because there's no magic wand that is going to somehow solve the drug crisis. It just doesn't exist.
A hard reality. Our thanks to Ashan Singh for that. There is still much more to get to tonight. Coming up, a man claims he was stung by a scorpion while sleeping. Which luxury resort in Las Vegas he is now suing? But next, U.S. airlines say they need to make up for lost revenue. So which fees are they now jacking up?
What does it take to be the most watched newscast in America?
We are part of an operation.
Is this our combat operations center?
We're approaching the gate. Militants came in from different directions. Nuclear reactor. So you have a couple loaded and ready to go. The house is destroyed, but the flag not a carrying it. How important it made the USA. Great work.
Hi. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Ismail?
David.
David.
I'm David Muir.
I know who you are.
You
Watch
do?
you every night.
ABC's World News Tonight with David Muir is America's most watched newscast.
Jimmy Kimmel, what'll it be? Will you go back to your normal Oscars night of sitting alone on the couch scrolling TikTok and eating churros? Or will you accept the awesome responsibility of hosting the Oscars, taking on with it all the attendant expectations, pressures, and scrutiny? The choice is yours.
The churro for sure. Yeah.
No, man, you're supposed to. Why do all the beautiful dummies come to me for advice?
The Oscars, live, Sunday, March 10th, at a new time on ABC.
You want a bite?
You should see me in the crowd. Gonna run this nothing down. That's when you come down. One by one.
The strongest females fight for the survival of their families. Oh, hey, the queens.
You should see me in a crowd.
First thing in the morning.
There's a lot going on.
Yet another avalanche warning that's up.
To catch you up with what happened overnight. A dangerous ice storm is impacting the morning commute.
What's happening today? Escalating tensions in the Middle East.
What people are talking about. The migrant crisis.
Fast, straightforward.
With some fun in between.
How does billionaire sound?
Sounds good to me. The moose started chasing a dog.
First thing in the morning.
America This Morning.
America's #1 early morning news.
On ABC News Live.
Real Housewives of Beverly Hills star Erica Jane.
Celebrity attorney Tom Girardi.
This story was a nuclear explosion.
Today, several victims will get a chance to finally meet Erica Girardi.
I'm at sort of a loss for what to say.
Did you see the documentary?
The Housewife and the Hustler? I did.
I wanted Erica to say, I'm sorry, face to face.
Erica, why did it take you so long?
The Housewife and the Hustler 2, only on Hulu.
Why do so many people start their day here?
From ABC News, this is Start Here.
To be in the know and get a different take on the day's top stories.
A lot of news today, so let's get into it.
Listen now to the Daily News Podcast honored with 4 Edward R. Murrow Awards and see why the New York Times calls it a news podcast worth listening to. Start Here, ABC News. Make it your daily first listen.
Now, that's a part of the story I bet you didn't see coming.
Wherever you get your podcasts, Start Here.
It's lunchtime in America, so what are we serving up?
Well, how about everything you need to know?
You know, that sounds pretty good.
Give it to me. Your health, your money, breaking news, pop culture, with the biggest stars, music, trends, and of course, good food. GMA 3, what you need to know. A third hour of GMA in the afternoon.
So join us, afternoons.
For everything you need to know. I love that.
I'm Marcus Moore covering the wildfires in Greece. Wherever the story is, we will take you there. You're streaming with ABC News Live.
Welcome back. With spring just around the corner, you may be planning your next trip. And while you may get a good deal on that ticket, airlines are starting to jack up some of those extra fees like baggage. Let's take a look by the numbers. In 2023, in the first 9 months alone, domestic airlines generated a staggering $5.5 billion from checked bags. And now some want more. This week, Delta Airlines increased the price of its checked bags by $5 to $35 total dollars. Delta is the third major U.S. carrier to hike its bag fees in recent weeks. United Airlines did so last month, increasing the overall fee to $40 unless you prepay online at least 24 hours before your flight. And just days before that, American Airlines instituted a similar fee, charging $35 ahead of time and $40 at the airport. How about this? $0. That's the industry-defying price Southwest charges for checked bags, allowing every customer to travel with 2 of them for free. And Southwest says it has no plans to change that policy. All of this is to say, if you don't want to get hit with extra fees, do be sure to read the fine print on your ticket. And the most up-to-date checked bag policy, of course, from whatever airline you are flying. There is much more ahead here tonight on Prime. The Dartmouth men's basketball team votes to unionize. Could it change the face of college sports? And we speak to a real-life princess who is using her fame and her title to fight child marriage.
Whenever, wherever news breaks, it's so important to always remember that lives are changed.
Here in London, in Buffalo, Uvalde, Texas, Edinburgh, Scotland, from Poland once again tonight. Thank you so much for streaming with us. Ukrainian refugees here in Warsaw. Do you think you'll ever be able to go back home? We're heading to a small community outside of Mexico City. Splintered houses and splintered lives. The magnitude of the devastation. You're streaming ABC News Live. Reporting from Rolling Fork, Mississippi, Santa Fe, New Mexico, Raleigh, North Carolina, the U.S. Capitol, Mayfield, Kentucky, Minneapolis, Mexico, Tongass National Forest, Alaska.
Getting you behind the stories as they happen, giving you a front row seat to our world as it plays out in real time, live.
ABC News Live Prime. We'll take you there.
Stream ABC News Live weeknights, America's most honored streaming news program, only on ABC News Live. Streaming free right now wherever you stream your news.
First thing in the morning.
There's a lot going on.
Yet another avalanche warning that's up.
To catch you up with what happened overnight. A dangerous ice storm is impacting the morning commute.
What's happening today? Escalating tensions in the Middle East.
What people are talking about, the migrant crisis.
Fast, straightforward.
With some fun in between.
How does billionaire sound?
Sounds good to me. The moose started chasing a dog.
First thing in the morning.
America This Morning.
America's #1 early morning news.
On ABC News Live.
National forests are good places to get away. But sometimes bad things happen in good places.
It's the stuff of nightmares.
All I could see was their feet sticking up. My knees went weak.
This is a human skull.
We were definitely against the clock.
How many more victims are out there?
Wild Crime at Blood Mountain. Now streaming only on Hulu.
People really want to know what it feels like to be a photographer.
Right shoulder down. There we go.
It's this yin-yang of danger and this incredible raw beauty.
That's his first breath. That's so cool.
All right, this is it.
These moments that you immortalize makes a lot of difference.
There's a masterpiece everywhere.
With so much at stake in our world right now, more Americans turn here to David than anywhere else. And now, America's most trusted, most watched newscast, ABC's World News Tonight with David Muir, is available to you on YouTube. Why do so many people start their day here?
From ABC News, this is Start Here.
To be in the know and get a different take on the day's top stories. Start here.
Now, that's a part of the story I bet you didn't see coming.
Make it your daily first listen, wherever you get your podcasts.
This week on
Good Morning America.
Garth Brooks has something super special to share.
This is just too cool. I cannot wait to show you.
And he's sharing it with Robin and you.
Robin Roberts, me, and GMA. I'm so excited. Let's do this.
This week.
Wait till you see this.
Only on GMA.
I love me some Good Morning America, and I promise you are going to love this.
Good Morning America, live from Nashville this week.
Welcome back. A small plane crashed in Washington state. Did the plane's parachute save the occupants? And a man is suing a Las Vegas resort after he was allegedly stung by a scorpion. These stories and more in tonight's rundown.
After scenes of chaos last year that led to nearly 600 arrests and 2 deaths in Miami Beach alone, the Sunshine State is cracking down. In a new ad, Miami Beach even breaking up with spring break.
And it's not us, it's you. We just want different things.
You just want to get drunk in public and ignore laws.
140 state troopers now set to be deployed to spring break hotspots, and in the air, drones used to spot potential problems. Miami Beach clamping down, warning visitors to expect curfews, early beach closures, and bag checks.
A potentially seismic shift in collegiate athletics.
The Dartmouth College men's basketball team, now the first college sports team in history voting to unionize. Players voting 13-2 in favor of joining the local service employees union, arguing that student athletes are in fact employees of their school. But Dartmouth sees it differently. The school and its trustees appealing a decision by a national labor board to consider the players employees and call for an election in the first place, deeming the board's ruling as unprecedented as it is inaccurate.
Boeing has not fully cooperated with the National Transportation Safety Board's investigation into an Alaska Airlines door plug that fell off mid-flight last month. NTSB Chair Jennifer Hamendi said during a Senate hearing,
"We don't have the records. We don't have the names of the 25 people that is in charge of doing that work in that facility. It's absurd that 2 months later, we don't have that."
According to Hamendi, Boeing has not provided the NTSB documents and information they had requested concerning the opening, closing, and removal of the door. In a statement to ABC News, Boeing said that the company has, quote, worked proactively and transparently to support the investigation, and that with respect to documentation, if the door plug removal was undocumented, there would be no documentation to share.
A California man suing the Las Vegas Venetian Resort, saying a scorpion stung his testicles while he slept there. Michael Farchi and his family were at the luxury resort last December when he says the scorpion stung him at least 3 or 4 times. It was eventually found clinging to his boxers. He was treated at a local hospital and filed a report with hotel staff. He still had to pay for the room, he says, and is now suing the resort for an unspecified amount.
A small plane equipped with a parachute crashed into a neighborhood in Bellevue, Washington. Officials said the plane went down shortly after takeoff due to an engine failure. The parachute deployed and the plane ended up in a wooded area. Pilot and the passenger were not injured.
Federal investigators intercepted a package in Wisconsin containing rollerblades that they say tested positive for cocaine. The Kenosha County Sheriff's Office says the package came from Colombia and that the rollerblades' wheels were infused with a gelatin-like substance that allegedly contained cocaine.
According to UNICEF, 720 million women alive today were married as children, a cause our next guest has dedicated her life to as an activist, a CEO, a real-life princess. Princess Mabel van Oranje of the Netherlands was the wife of the late Prince Friso and is sister-in-law of King Willem-Alexander. She is using her platform to advocate for girls' rights, co-founding Vow for Girls, a global initiative seeking to end child marriage. Thank you so much for taking the time. I know it's a busy schedule. Before we get into the work, the amazing work that you're doing with child marriage, tell us how you came to the royal family.
Love. Very easy.
Easy.
I was an activist. I met my husband. We fell in love, and one of the reasons why he fell in love with me is because of the commitment with which I do my work, and including work on ending child marriage.
Well, let's talk about that. Vow for Girls. Tell us what it is and what is it that you do.
So every year, 12 million girls get married before the age of 18. That's one girl every 3 seconds. And I've met countless of these girls. I remember the girl who told me that her wedding day was not a happy day because it was the day she had to leave school. I remember girls who told me that their sisters who ended up as child brides actually are dead now because they died in childbirth because their bodies were not ready to give birth. For many of these girls, a marriage doesn't bring love. Actually, it brings domestic violence at the hands of their husbands. So child marriage is not a happy thing. And these are girls that if you ask them what they had wanted to do with their lives, and they say they wanted to be a nurse or they wanted to, be a policewoman, or some of them wanted to be president. And I believe that child marriage has basically taken the futures of these girls away. And that can change, and that has to change, because it's a big human rights abuse, but because it's also stupid. Because we know that a woman or a girl who doesn't end up in child marriage but who stays in school will earn more money in her lifetime and invest that in her family and help to lift her community out of poverty.
I love how you speak very frankly. Your organization has worked extensively with the wedding industry. So what are the vows you have encouraged couples to incorporate in there for your cause.
Now, these local projects happen all over the world, and we realize that when people hear about it, including the people who might be listening now, that they say, we want to make a contribution. And then we realized that the wedding industry and celebrations in general is a huge industry. In America alone, $100 billion a year is dedicated to weddings. And so we realized if we can mobilize a small part of that to help that make sure that girls elsewhere in the world can choose their own futures, that would make a huge difference.
Your travels have taken you all around the world. I know you just got back from the Dominican Republic recently. You know, a lot of this, people here in America mostly will hear that and just be so shocked about child marriage, but it is cultural from place to place. So I would imagine education is a part of what you do. Education definitely is a big part of this. And so last week I was in the Dominican Republic. Many of us think the Dominican Republic is basically a tourist destination, but there 1 out of every 3 girls is married before 18. And the projects that I saw, and these are projects that don't cost a whole lot of money. I mean, really small grants overall. They help to keep girls in school. They help to make sure that girls know about sexual and reproductive health services and how you can avoid getting pregnant. They help to make girls realize that if one of them is getting married, that they have to rally around and stop it. They help to realize teachers to realize that this is not a good thing. You called yourself an activist. You're an activist, obviously, before you were a princess. I'm curious that there are so many amazing causes that need attention all across the world. How did you come to this? Well, the size of the problem made me realize this is something that needs to be tackled, but also the issue was not getting the attention it deserves. These 12 million girls were invisible. They often live in rural circumstances, they don't speak English, they're under 18, they can't self-organize. Everybody should have the same opportunity. That's what I strongly believe, and that's why I'm so passionate about this issue. Princess Mabel, thank you so much for taking the time to come in and speak with us. Thank you. So we often see untold stories as tragic, but what about all the happiness? Director Sean Wang decided to bring the joys of his life to screen. His grandmothers and their delightful short film is now nominated for an Oscar. Our Lindsay Davis sat down with Wang and his grandmothers to discuss making art as a family and their exhilarating road to the Oscars.
You have said that your grandmothers are the purest form of joy in your life. How did you decide, I'm going to document this?
Well, I think it all goes back to 2018. And in 2018, we had made a Christmas card together. Waipo tries to feed me blueberries. I say no. She says, eat. I say no. She looks in the camera, slaps me. They look at each other and create a plan to essentially tie me up and kill me. It was the most fun I've ever had making anything up to that point. And so I knew that I wanted to make something else with them at some point, but I didn't really know what. And then fast forward to 2021, I had moved home to the Bay Area where I'm from, where we shot the movie. And it happened to coincide with a lot of, you know, rising anti-Asian hate crimes that were happening in the country, but especially in the Bay Area where, you know, we all were at the time. And so I would go read the news and be sort of filled with this sort of extreme anger, and then I would go hang out with them and be filled with extreme joy. And so I kind of just wanted to make something that was, you know, a container for people like them and them to feel seen in all of their joy, their pain, their silliness, their humor.
我现在83岁了，我感觉我还像20岁。我今年94岁，觉得都100岁，都很老了。
Can you ask Nai and Waipo, they say in the movie, oh, you're taking our lives and turning us into superstars, how they feel now that that came to be?
很感谢大家，真的有。
She said, I'm so happy. I feel like I'm dreaming. I feel like I can't, even in my dreams, I could never have imagined this. We're so thrilled and we're so overjoyed with the amount of love that people have sort of showered us with and the film with. And then she said thumbs up to me, but
and how
she
about
said
for,
thank you. Nina?
And how about for Waipo?
我感觉好像这是我的美国梦，我的美国梦真的实现了。
She said, "This is my American dream. It's like the dream has come true."
Nai in the movie says, the days you spend feeling joy and the days you spend feeling pain are still the same days spent. And so she chooses joy. And that's such a lesson for all of us. And I just wanted to ask Nai, how does one go about choosing joy? How did she get to that revelation?
去那些不必要的事情，我们就不去想了，只想快乐的事情就好。
I've never translated for them before too, so I feel like I'm in like expert mode right now. She said, you know, there's so much going on in life, and there's so much happening, but if we can just only think, you know, especially at their age, you know, the stuff that brings them sadness almost isn't productive, and so we're just gonna try and focus on the joy, and it's a decision.
We, as the viewer, are really like a fly in the wall as they're in bed at night and talking about like the smells and all of that. They just seem like they were so comfortable on camera.
Yeah.
How were you able to get that, just authenticity?
Well, I think Sam, who shot the film and is also one of our producers, we talk a lot about how heart doesn't cost anything, and the shoot itself was very, very intimate. It was me, him, maybe a sound person, and ultimately I think what makes this film special is them and the amount of intimate access that we had, an intimate relationship that we share. We really brought them in, and it was a film made with them and for them and about them, but also about this kind of meta narrative of me making a movie with them and them being my movie stars.
So if you win, then what happens? You go up and no speech, just a dance party?
I said that once. I was half kidding, but the more I think about it, I think, you know, maybe Oscars need everyone just stands up, has a 45-second dance party. I'm not against that.
你知道我们今天要做什么吗？
Okay, all right. And your reaction when you found out that it was Oscar nominated?
It was such a, I describe it as a chaotic joy, because that entire experience of getting nominated was right in the middle of me premiering my first feature film at Sundance too. So I premiered my first feature film on a Friday, had this whirlwind weekend of finally kind of having this thing I made be at this prestigious festival that I love. So we flew home late Monday night, maybe got back at midnight, went to sleep at 2 in the morning, got up at 5 in the morning, watched the Oscar nominations with them. And it really was this, you know, the film has gone so much further than we had ever expected. Ultimately, we would have still made the movie because ultimately it was to capture them and their spirits for my family. But to have that Oscar nomination, to experience it with them was truly, like she said, I could never have imagined.
A real labor of love. Our thanks to Lindsay Davis. Be sure to catch our brand new special Road to the Oscars featuring all of our conversations with the 2024 Oscar nominees Friday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern right here on ABC News Live and streaming on Hulu. Also, be sure to tune in to Countdown to Oscars on the Red Carpet Live. Whit Johnson and Lindsay Davis will be hosting, featuring the biggest stars and nominees. That's Sunday, March 10th. Coverage begins at 1 p.m. Eastern right here on ABC News Live. And that's our show for this hour. I'm Phil Lipoff. Stay with ABC News Live for more context and analysis of the day's top stories. Thanks so much for streaming with us. And coming up in the next hour, the breaking news just in: a verdict in the Rust movie trial of armor Hannah Gutierrez, charged with involuntary manslaughter and evidence tampering. And new fears that the recent violence in Haiti could spill over into neighboring countries.
Why do so many people start their day here?
From ABC News, this is Start Here.
To be in the know and get a different take on the day's top stories.
A lot of news today, so let's get into it.
Listen now to the Daily News Podcast honored with 4 Edward R. Murrow Awards and see why the New York Times calls it a news podcast worth listening to. Start Here, ABC News. Make it your daily first listen.
Now, that's a part of the story I bet you didn't see coming.
Wherever you get your podcasts, start here.
It's lunchtime in America, so what are we serving up?
Well, how about everything you need to know?
You know, that sounds pretty good. Give it to me. Your health, your money, breaking news, pop culture, with the biggest stars, music, trends, and of course, good food. GMA 3, what you need to know. A third hour of GMA in the afternoon.
So join us, afternoons.
For everything you need to know. I love that.
Friday night.
This is a story about a beautiful young woman who goes on spring break and her life intersects with a monster.
There have been no reported sightings of 17-year-old who went missing.
A mystery for years. Now, for the first time, exclusive interviews with the investigators who solved it.
Now, all new details into the hidden life of a killer.
It still feels so raw.
Into the Darkness, the all-new 2020, Friday at 9/8 Central on ABC.
Real Housewives of Beverly Hills star Erica Jane.
Celebrity attorney Tom Girardi.
This story was a nuclear explosion.
Today, several victims will get a chance to finally meet Erica Girardi.
I'm at sort of a loss for what to say.
Did you see the documentary?
The Housewife and the Hustler? I did.
I wanted Erica to say, I'm sorry, face to face.
Erica, why did it take you so long?
The Housewife and the Hustler 2, only on Hulu.
What does it take to be the most watched newscast in America?
We are part of an operation.
Is this our combat operations center?
We're approaching the gate. Militants came in from different directions. Nuclear reactor. So you have a couple loaded and ready to go. The house is destroyed, but the flag not a carrying it. How important it made the USA. Great work.
Hi. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Ismael? David.
David. I'm David Muir.
I know who you are.
You
Watch
do.
you every night.
ABC's World News Tonight with David Muir is America's most watched newscast.
Whenever, wherever news breaks, it's so important to always remember that lives are changed. Here in London, in Buffalo, Uvalde, Texas, Edinburgh, Scotland. Reporting from Rolling Fork, Mississippi. Ukrainian refugees here in Warsaw. We're heading to a small community outside of Mexico City. Getting you behind the stories as they happen. ABC News Live Prime. We'll take you there.
Stream ABC News Live weeknights wherever you stream your news. Only on ABC News Live.
Reporting from Monterey Park, California, I'm Robin Roberts. Wherever the story is, we're going to take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
This is ABC News Live Prime. I'm Phil Lipoff in tonight for Lindsay Davis, and we are coming to you right now with breaking news tonight. A verdict in the trial of Rust armorer Hannah Gutierrez. The jury finding her guilty of involuntary manslaughter.
We find the defendant, Hannah Gutierrez, guilty of involuntary manslaughter as charged in count 1. We find the defendant, Hannah Gutierrez, not guilty of tampering with evidence as charged in count 2.
That verdict coming down after 2.5 hours of deliberations as Gutierrez was taken into custody. Her anguished loved ones, as you see, looked on. Prosecutors had told jurors that Gutierrez repeatedly failed to maintain proper firearm safety and that her negligence led to the death of Alina Hutchins. Actor Alec Baldwin has also been charged with involuntary manslaughter. He was handling the gun that actually killed Hutchins. That trial is set to begin in July. We are standing by to get legal analysis, but first, let's get right to Mola Lenghi. Mola, what can you tell us about the verdict?
Well, Phil, it took the jury just 2.5 hours to find Hannah Gutierrez guilty of involuntary manslaughter. Gutierrez, as you know, the armorer on the movie set of Rust here in New Mexico. She was taken into custody tonight. The defense argued that Gutierrez was being used as a scapegoat, but the jury ultimately agreeing with the prosecution's argument that Gutierrez repeatedly skirted critical weapon safety checks and carelessly brought live ammo onto the movie set. Just days before, a gun that actor Alec Baldwin was rehearsing with fired a live bullet back in October 2021, killing the movie's cinematographer, Helena Hutchins. Now, Baldwin has pleaded not guilty to involuntary manslaughter charges, and Phil, his trial is scheduled to begin in July.
All right, Mola, thank you. ABC News legal contributor and professor of law Kim Haley joins me now to break this verdict down. Kim, Rust armorer Hannah Gutierrez found guilty of involuntary manslaughter. What from the prosecutor's arguments do you think stuck with the jury as they came to the conclusion?
Well, the entire movie set would seem to be, just ripe with negligence top to bottom. I mean, her job as armorer was to manage firearms, and someone was killed. And that, I think it's very difficult for the defense to really get around the notion that that's potentially criminal negligence, because it should not happen, given that that was her job. That was her reason to be on set.
Always hard to read the tea leaves before the verdict, but jury deliberations only lasted about 2 hours. What do you make of the fast decision here from the jury?
Well, again, the evidence demonstrated that there were multiple opportunities to double check that this wasn't a live round and it wasn't a fake, and that she wasn't even there when the incident happened, that they potentially traced the bringing of this actual live round onto set to her. She brought something allegedly from her car onto the set. So all of these things, as a jury went through the jury instructions and said, willful disregard for the safety of the people on the movie set. I think it was just difficult probably for them to reach any other conclusion, and the blaming others when this was her job, my guess is a jury saw right through that.
It's obviously really a high-profile case. How do you think this paves the way for the trial of Alec Baldwin now, who's also charged with involuntary manslaughter?
Well, I think with Alec Baldwin, it's harder. I mean, he has said publicly that he didn't pull the trigger. That's going to be difficult for him when you have forensic experts and firearms experts explaining how this sort of antique-like gun works. Reportedly, have to actually pull the trigger. That being said, he was there to read his lines and be an actor, and there are hundreds of people on movie sets that's job is to do these other things, and, guns kill people. So I think that's probably a harder case for the prosecution than it was for this defendant, but this verdict is probably nothing that he likes to hear. I'm sure he's very concerned in this moment for his own future.
I would imagine. ABC News legal contributor Kim Haley. Kim, thanks so much, as always. Next tonight, to the race for the White House. After Super Tuesday, the Biden-Trump rematch seems to be shaping up. Governor Nikki Haley bowing out, congratulating Donald Trump, but not endorsing him, saying it's now up to him to earn the votes of Republicans who didn't support him. President Biden, meantime, has an appeal to Haley's voters already, saying there is a place for them in his campaign. ABC's Rachel Scott reports.
Tonight, Donald Trump's lone remaining Republican challenger calling it quits.
I said I wanted Americans to have their voices heard. I have done that.
Nikki Haley congratulating Trump, but not endorsing him. Instead, urging the former president to heed the message of her supporters, who have serious reservations about another Trump term. Exit polls show 79% of Haley voters would be dissatisfied with Trump as the Republican nominee. 79% also say he would be unfit for office if convicted of a crime.
It is now up to Donald Trump to earn the votes of those in our party and beyond it who did not support him. And I hope he does that. At its best, politics is about bringing people into your cause, not turning them away. This is now his time for choosing.
President Biden quickly promising Haley supporters have a place in his campaign, saying, I know there's a lot we won't agree on, but on the fundamental issues of preserving American democracy, on standing up for the rule of law, on preserving NATO, and standing up to America's adversaries, I hope and believe we can find common ground. Trump now the de facto Republican nominee, predicting the party will come together.
And we're going to have unity, and it's going to happen very quickly.
Today, one of the last remaining Republican leaders falling in line. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell hasn't spoken to Trump in 3 years, publicly blaming him for January 6th.
There's no question, none, that President Trump is practically and morally responsible for provoking the events of the day.
But today, McConnell endorsing Trump, saying it should come as no surprise that as nominee, he will have my support. Reporters pressing the senator on how he could condemn Trump in 2020 and endorse him now.
I said in February of 2021 shortly after the attack on the Capitol that I would support President Trump if he were the nominee of our party, and he obviously is going to be the nominee of our party.
Our thanks to Rachel Scott. President Biden, meantime, is neck and neck with Donald Trump in many of the major national polls and trailing Trump in the key battleground states. So let's get to ABC Chief White House correspondent Mary Bruce right now. And Mary, the president preparing to deliver this very important State of the Union address tomorrow night. And tonight, his team no doubt knows the stakes could not be higher.
They certainly do, Phil. Look, this is a pivotal moment for President Biden, and this White House and his campaign know it. He is trailing in the polls to Donald Trump, facing those persistent concerns and questions over his age. So the president tomorrow night really has to sell skeptical voters on his accomplishments and show the American public that he is up for another 4 years on the job. Now, I'm told he will reflect on his record and hit on some of those issues that are posing the biggest challenges to his campaign, like the economy and immigration. Now, still no word on whether the president will call out Donald Trump directly by name, but this is perhaps one of the biggest audiences he will get all year. The last best chance for the president to try and change perceptions and sway people as the general election kicks off. So there's no question the pressure's on.
Yeah, high-stakes speech. Mary Bruce from the White House. Mary, thank you.
Thank you.
33 million people are under flash flood alerts tonight from New Jersey to Maine, the rain becoming heavier into the night. The system racing north at this hour as another system takes shape right behind it, reaching the East Coast by Friday night. ABC senior meteorologist Rob Marciano tonight with the timing and the track. Rob.
Hey, Phil, this second storm has come in pretty quickly, and we've seen the rain steadily increasing throughout the day across New York and up the I-95 corridor. A really horrible evening commute with a lot of ponding on the roadways. And the rain, as you mentioned, is only going to get worse. The worst if it's on our doorstep. You see the brighter colors there rolling up through Philly and New Jersey and across Long Island. But we're expansive all the way back through Buffalo and Pittsburgh. So this will take some time. The front kind of squeezes some of that moisture, and more rounds of the reds and yellows coming, especially east of the Hudson. Through 7 a.m., it begins to end west to east, but I think Boston's morning commute could be a very difficult one. The next storm coming in on Sunday will bring another couple of inches, Saturday and Sunday, I should say. So 2 to 4 to 5 inches potentially in the northeast and the southeast. And with this next system, there's a severe weather threat coming tomorrow and Friday. Damaging winds, large hail, isolated tornadoes, Dallas to Shreveport to Mobile as we go through Friday. But here in the Northeast, by the time we get done with all this come Sunday morning, we're talking about over a month's worth of rain coming to this area. Phil?
It's a lot of rain in a short period of time. Rob, thank you. Overseas tonight, did Russia target Ukrainian President Zelensky? A Russian ballistic missile striking Odessa today, just 300 feet from President Zelensky and the Prime Minister of Greece. What Ukraine and Russia are saying about it tonight. Here's ABC's James Longman.
Tonight, one of the closest calls yet for Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. A Russian missile narrowly missing him and the Greek Prime Minister during a visit to the port city of Odessa. That strike leading to immediate concern. Zelensky was targeted, the missile landing just 300 feet away from both leaders. Neither was hurt. But the Ukrainian military today not officially connecting the attack to Zelensky's visit, instead calling it Russian terrorism. Zelensky saying the two leaders saw the explosion, adding the Russians don't care where they strike, even with international guests present. The Kremlin claims they targeted a hangar housing Ukrainian naval drones. It comes as President Biden is expected to push for more aid to Ukraine in his State of the Union speech.
So this is waiting to be exported? Yes.
We got a first look inside a secret Ukrainian weapons manufacturing facility, struggling to fill the ammunition shortages on the battlefield.
Without U.S. military aid stuck in Congress, Ukraine is doing what it can to try to make as much of its own ammunition. But it will never be enough to beat Russia. For that, they need the United States.
Ukraine says it can use as many as 20,000 shells a day, but some units are resupplied with just 50 shells daily.
The current challenge for 2024 is to multiply our existing production.
So you're making every month what you would normally make in a year?
What we did in 2018, 2019. So we greatly increase.
James joins us now. James, as you've been reporting, Ukrainian forces are dangerously low on ammunition and in need of U.S. support. You actually went inside a Ukrainian weapons facility.
Yeah, that's right, Phil. It was fascinating to go inside. This was exclusive access. They very rarely allow journalists into these places. I think a lot of people think that Ukraine doesn't make any of its own weapons, that it relies exclusively on the West. That is not the case. They do what they can, but Ukraine says that over decades, they've signed agreement after agreement with the West to de-arm, to de-escalate, to get rid of basically all of their weapons. And so that is why there is such a deficit. That's why they need more help. They need the help not just to prevent the kinds of losses that we're seeing currently in the east. They are ceding land to Russia, but also to try to help prevent the kinds of attacks that almost hit President Zelensky today. Phil?
All right, James Longman, thank you. There's still much more to get to tonight. Coming up, the mother of Jim Foley was murdered by ISIS 10 years ago, speaking to us about her new book and coming face to face with one of the men found responsible for her son's death. But next, concerns the recent violence in Haiti could spill over to neighboring countries.
Whenever news breaks,
We are here in Israel, a nation at war after that brutal surprise attack by Hamas.
On the ground in Ukraine, reporting from Lewiston, Maine.
The scene of a horrific mass shooting.
ABC News Live is right there everywhere.
From the scene of that deadly missile strike in Dnipro, Ukraine.
Reporting from the earthquake in Turkey.
In rolling forward, this tornado tore through this little town.
From the most devastating disaster in Hawaii.
From Charleston, South Carolina, on the 2024 campaign trail.
In Iceland, let's go.
Traveling with the president in Mexico City.
Wherever the story.
From the front lines from southern Israel.
Outside the Gaza Strip.
In Beirut.
From the FBI.
Reporting from the nurses on the picket line.
Here at 10 Downing Street in London.
Streaming live to you.
Wherever the story is.
Wherever the story is.
Wherever the story is. We're going to take you there.
You're streaming ABC News Live.
ABC News Live.
You're streaming ABC News Live.
ABC News Live, streaming free everywhere. America's #1 streaming news.
Everything is so fine. Little bit of sunshine. Some more, just a little bit. Breathe more, just a little bit. Smile a little more in a minute. I've been running through the strange life. Pictures on my phone life. Everything is so fine. Little bit of sunshine.
Good morning, America.
Jimmy Kimmel, what'll it be? Will you go back to your normal Oscars night of sitting alone on the couch scrolling TikTok and eating churros? Or will you accept the awesome responsibility of hosting the Oscars, taking on with it all the attendant expectations, pressures, and scrutiny? The choice is yours.
The churro for sure, yeah.
No, man, you're supposed to. Why do all the beautiful dummies come to me for advice?
The Oscars, live, Sunday, March 10th, at a new time on ABC.
You want a bite?
Reporting from the Capitol, I'm Rachel Scott. Wherever the story is, we'll take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
Welcome back. We are tracking several headlines around the world at this hour. Officials in the Philippines are raising alarm bells after an incident yesterday in which they say China used water cannons on their supply vessel in the South China Sea. Country also accusing China of conducting, quote, dangerous maneuvers that led to a collision between the Philippine and the Chinese Coast Guard vessels. China's Coast Guard says the Philippine vessel illegally intruded into its waters. The White House is urging Haiti's Prime Minister Ariel Henry to begin transitioning out of power as soon as possible after a series of deadly gang attacks rocked the island nation. Henry remains stranded in Puerto Rico as gangs threaten civil war. The violence has brought life to a halt. All flights into Port-au-Prince are canceled, and the Dominican Republic has closed its airspace to flights to or from Haiti. Parts of southern Bolivia were left underwater Tuesday after heavy rain wreaked havoc on the region. With vehicles stranded, roads became rivers. The flooding is just the latest in a series of extreme weather events that have plunged many Bolivian regions underwater since February. The government said Monday that 43 people have died. 2 have gone missing during the devastating rainstorms in recent weeks. The Syrian civil war has raged now for 13 years. One group fighting against the country's autocratic president, Bashar al-Assad, at least in 2012, was the Islamic State, or ISIS, who viewed journalists as enemies as well. Jim Foley, an American freelance reporter with the online news agency Global Post, covered the conflict and was captured by a group of ISIS terrorists from the United Kingdom. Many will remember this last image of Jim before he was killed in 2014 after being held hostage for 2 years. In their new book, American Mother, Jim's mother, Diane Foley, along with novelist Colin McCann, are now telling Jim's story, but they're also telling Diane's story of confronting one of her son's killers face to face, something many people may not know. Diane, thank you so much for taking the time to sit with us. I will just tell you my condolences for your son. Covered this for the better part of 10 years, and I'm sure 10 years even in, it's still remarkably painful. So thank you for coming and talking to us about this. You say in this book that, you know, Jim wanted to cover the human spirit. I mean, he's covered wars in Afghanistan, Iraq, Libya, Syria, all over. Why did he want to do it in war zones? What was it about that? Because it's very particular for journalists to want to be in war zones.
Well, I think initially it was because he had 3 younger siblings in the military. But also Jim was quite a pacifist, so he was interested in why people go to war. Why did soldiers choose to go to war? And what happens to the civilians? What happens to the innocents in the midst of war? So he really felt a lot of these stories were something we needed to hear, that they were essential stories for us to understand.
You decided to meet one of the men found responsible for Jim's death, Alexander Cote. You spoke to him in a Virginia courtroom after he pleaded guilty to conspiracy to murder. I guess this would for sure be an individual choice, but why talk to him at all?
Jim would have wanted me to. It was odd. Once I had the opportunity, I thought, yes, Jim would have done that and would not have wanted me to be afraid. And he also would have wanted me to hear him out. And as a mom, I wanted to tell him about Jim. So I thought, well, there's some openness there. He's offering this as part of his plea deal. So I felt certain I wanted to meet him.
Did he ever apologize?
To me, he did.
He did?
Several times. Several times. Not for what he did, but for what he did, what we went through, what we endured.
Understood.
Yeah.
You say in the book that you were bitter that it took 3 days for President Obama to call your family. What things do you wish the U.S. government had done differently to try to free Jim?
Well, I was more angry and bitter that I had been told over and over that Jim was our country's highest priority, when in fact that wasn't true. And after he was so horrifically killed, I was just angry. I felt as an American that we could do much better, that I wish they'd just been honest with me and told me they didn't have any idea what to do.
And you founded the James W. Foley Legacy Foundation in honor of Jim, obviously, and all the Americans wrongfully detained abroad. What was your hope in also writing this book?
Well, I want the average American to know that they can make a difference. We can make our country better. And that even an ordinary person like myself and Jim's death has made a difference for others, that now our country prioritizes the return of U.S. hostages and wrongful detainees, though it's still not easy. I mean, it's very difficult. And I also want folks to value our journalists, particularly those working so hard to investigate the issues and be an unbiased observer, and people who dare to go into conflict zones and attend riots and risky endeavors to bring us what's going on.
Yeah. Well, Jim certainly did, and it's a remarkable spirit you have, and a real pleasure to meet you. Thank you for sitting with us. Thank you for the book, Diane Foley. Your book that you wrote with Colin McCann is available now. And there's still more to come tonight. We speak with actress DeWanda Wise about her role in the new film, the horror thriller imaginary.
Why do so many people start their day here?
From ABC News, this is Start Here.
To be in the know and get a different take on the day's top stories.
A lot of news today, so let's get into it.
Listen now to the Daily News Podcast honored with 4 Edward R. Murrow Awards and see why the New York Times calls it a news podcast worth listening to. Start Here, ABC News. Make it your daily first listen.
Now, that's a part of the story I bet you didn't see coming.
Wherever you get your podcasts, Start Here.
This week on
Good Morning America.
Garth Brooks has something super special to share.
This is just too cool. I cannot wait to show you.
And he's sharing it with Robin and you.
Robin Roberts, me, and GMA. I'm so excited. Let's do this.
This week,
Wait till you see this.
only on GMA.
I love me some Good Morning America, and I promise you are going to love this.
Good Morning America, live from Nashville this week.
What does it take to be the most watched newscast in America?
We are part of an operation.
Is this our Combat Operations Center?
We're approaching the gate. Militants came in from different directions. Nuclear reactor. So you have a couple loaded and ready to go. The house is destroyed, but the flag...
Not a carry in it.
How important it made the USA. Great work.
Hi, appreciate you.
Thank you.
Ismael?
David.
David.
I'm David Muir.
I know who you are.
You
I watch
do?
you every night.
ABC's World News Tonight with David Muir is America's most watched newscast.
Stepping out of the comedy drama Fatherhood and the jaws of Jurassic Park Dominion, actress DeWanda Wise now captivates the horror thriller Imaginary. The terror unfolds as Jessica, played by Wise, moves her family into her childhood home, but things take a rather dark turn when Jessica's stepdaughter Alice forms an eerie bond with a stuffed bear, beyond the bounds of an imaginary friend. Trust me, take a look.
Across the pond, they pronounce it skull.
She's a total daddy's girl.
Your dress is so pretty.
Thank you.
Okay, it goes downhill from there. DeWanda joins us now. It's so nice to have you. Thanks so much for coming. We really appreciate it. And this movie, we were just talking about scary movies, which you love.
I love.
Even though this is a little bit of a career move to this kind of thriller. But let's talk about Imaginary. At its core, it's about the power of imagination. We were just talking about imagination and a thriller for the kid inside each and every one of us. What was it like to step into this role from others?
I think everything, I mean, I'm a nerdy actor. Everything gets the same approach. There's no like style for one versus the other. What really appealed to me and what I was attracted to was just the notion of playing a character significantly softer than I've ever played before. So every day on set, this was my mantra, every day on set, I was just like, I'm a damsel. I had to remind myself, it's just like, I'm a damsel, I need to be saved. You know, I'm like, I'm a horror movie protagonist, save me. So yeah, it was just really fun to tap into that kind of vulnerability.
So you play Jessica, who writes and illustrates children's books, sort of to understand her own past trauma. It's a departure from your other roles. What was it about that sort of... I don't have the hair, so I can't do that, but the dainty damsel that attracted you to it?
I had just come off of, Jurassic World Dominion, which required a year and a half of me lifting heavy weights and pumping before every take. And I'd always wanted to play in the horror genre. It requires a level of like stakes that you don't get in many genres. Like even in dramas now, like contemporary dramas are very understated. They're very simple. They're very, very small. And you might get like one really intense scene. If you're shooting a horror movie, the whole time your nervous system is going to be a wreck. Like the entire time. It takes a lot, it requires a lot. And, you just saw a photo of the young actress Piper Braun. Her emotional availability, I mean, she's extraordinary.
She absolutely is. Yeah. And creepy in the appropriate way. We also just saw a picture of you behind the scenes as well.
Yeah.
Oh, there's that Chauncey. We also saw a picture of you behind the scenes. There you are. You executive producer, too, on this.
That photo is definitely giving executive producer.
Oh, total
energy.
executive
That's
producer
really
vibes.
Funny.
What was it like to wear both hats?
A joy. I will say, as an actor, the process is I prepare a lot. So then by the time I'm on set, I could just be really available to the cast and crew. Anything that comes up day to day. But even just, joining with every department, I'm a filmmaker at heart, So it's something that you get for free, but you should compensate me for, you know. Like, you're going to get it anyway.
Absolutely.
Doesn't matter what project.
You're going to bring it no matter what.
Yeah,
but...
I'm going to bring it no matter what, but it was nice to have a seat at the proverbial table.
All right, so then we got to talk about the antagonist. This teddy bear.
Is your leg shaking?
It is, because I told you I don't like... No. Actually, my leg goes all day long. That's another story.
You're like, that is not Chauncey related.
That's like, I don't know, nervous energy. No, Chauncey, this teddy bear, but yeah, it is. Thanks for pointing that out to Wanda. Chauncey is no laughing matter. We can show the teddy bear. Imagination, it's called imaginary. Imagination is at the core of this. How did your imagination influence how you either helped produce this or acted in it as we see there?
That's a great question. And no one's asked me that in this entire press run.
Huh. And no one's ever pointed out that my leg shakes.
I know. Look at us going through first together. I mean, it was just allowed to go wild, you know?
And
Jessica,
you love horror movies.
I love horror movies. Yeah. I really love horror movies. And it was a balance because, you know, this is, a lot of journalists have been pointing out, they called them gateway horror movies. You know, there were horror movies I watched that were okay for me to watch when I was, probably not. I say they were okay for me to watch, but I probably shouldn't have been watching Freddy Krueger when I was 10. It's fine.
I guess my 10-year-olds didn't, but Dewan, it was so nice to meet you. I could talk to you about a million other things, but Imaginary is in theaters starting Friday, March 8th. A pleasure. And that's our show for tonight. I'm Phil Lipoff. ABC News Live is here for you all night with the latest news, context, and analysis. You can always find us on Hulu, Roku, Pluto TV, the ABC News app, and, of course, abcnews.com. Good night.
People really want to know what it feels like to be a